all praises, all praises. Man, let's give another hand for that. And I kind of don't even know what to say because that's just set up. That's a layup for the lesson that we have tonight, which the title is "The Faith That Will Feed Us." So just as that track was going out, I mean, what the elder was saying at the end of the track, as it was fading out, was that faith is what's going to sustain us. Faith is what it took for Noah to build the ark on dry ground, and that's just all, like every word of that was just an imperative, from what the ark was spitting about, obtaining rapport from having faith. Like that's what this lesson is about, and that just shows you the Spirit, how the Holy Spirit works. Is that I didn't know the brother was going to do the song, and the brother said it's his first time performing it, and here we are with a lesson titled "The Faith That Will Feed Us." So that's where we at. That's where we, and it's just like so many cues can be taken out that song, even with the elder saying, to others we seem crazy. To others, Noah seemed crazy. But it was Noah and his family that survived, So to everybody else, we're going to seem crazy because we have spiritual eyes and faith and a belief in the one true God that the rest of this world don't have. So they look at you crazy and they be like, what you mean you don't do nothing on the weekends as far as entertaining yourself? What you mean you go to church on the weekends? What you mean you go to, Sabbath on the Saturday and church on the Saturday? And on a Friday night. Those are the 2 key days to party. So you seem crazy to them, You seem crazy because you're not doing what, the rest of the world is doing, because we know broad is the path that leads to destruction. So the Most High always keeps a remnant. He always has a remnant of the faithful. Even when it don't seem like it, he always keeps a remnant of those who are faithful to him, and those are the ones that's gonna seem crazy to the rest of society. They laughed and mocked Noah for building an ark, for tens and tens, hundreds of years, and they was beating down the door trying to get on the ark when that rain came down. But it took faith for him to say, you know what, I'm gonna be obedient to the Most High and follow his instruction and build this ark. And in the middle of the wilderness, nowhere near water or a body of water. And what happened? The whole entire world became a body of water. So it don't matter where that ark was at, it was gonna float. No matter where that ark was at, it was gonna be their home, it was gonna be their hedge. And it took obedience for that, and it took faith. It took faith, to get up every day and go and work on that ark and have your children and your family, your entire family working on that ark with you when everybody else were caught up with the cares of the world. So these are the things we got to keep in mind as we in this walk. We got to have faith that what we're doing is going to be a great reward for it. What we're doing is not going to be liked by many. It's not going to be liked by our co-workers, our family, our mothers, our fathers, whomever. It's not going to be liked. But on the day of judgment, you're going to be standing there. You're not going to be standing there with your father or your mother. It's going to be you standing there. So it's going to be you answering for your actions, Just like for your mom or dad or whomever, you're not going to be standing next to them for their judgment. So, Babylon has taught us to be caught up into the cares of the world and go with the trends and all of those things, when really in this walk you do have to be an individual. You have to have a righteous spiritual mind as an individual to walk this path. And then as other like minds gather with you, you become joined in the spirit with them. But you can't really, like we just seen it with the past holiday. What was it? Thanksgiving. What was it? Yesterday. Thanksgiving. We know people that's in this walk still struggle with that. Still struggle with, what do I do? How do I, and to some of us it's simpler than others, you know what I'm saying? Some people been in this truth for years, and then they still struggle with how to deal with their family with dealing with holidays. You understand? So, to some of us it's not an issue. Some of us is just like, hey, just disregard it. But some, and it's like, it really is a spell. Like, it's a spell. It's a spirit that's in the earth around that time for these holidays. That's why so much silence. If you ever notice on the holidays, that morning you wake up, it's complete silence. It's silence. It's peace. It's a solemn peace if you ever notice, like you ever looked at like a Sunday morning, right before people get up and go to church that morning, if you wake up early, it's different than a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, because people not vibrating and going to work. People not going around doing the cares of their day, going through the rat race or the hustle and bustle to get to work. It's more silence on a Sunday morning because everybody is, they pretty much got their partying done the night before. But that spirit in the earth is silent, but then it's the same thing for the holidays. It's the same thing for Christmas. You'll see when the day of Christmas comes, if you are up early, you won't see cars going up and down the street. It's going to be like, and that's how the Sabbath is supposed to be. That's how the Sabbath is supposed to be. In all honesty, not that same spirit, but a righteous spirit of that aspect is how the Sabbath is supposed to be. And that was just a great intro to this lesson. So we'll go right into it. Let's get the first commentary. So the title of this lesson, once again, is The Faith That Will Feed Us. The Faith That Will Feed Us. So going throughout this lesson, I just want everybody to think about the examples that's given. And, think about how a lot of these situations in the scriptures that was written aforetime for our learning was our forefathers or whomever having faith. You understand? Like the song the brother just did. He said, don't look back like Lot's wife. Lot's wife didn't have faith. Her heart was caught up in Sodom and Gomorrah. And I always say it takes discipline and obedience to follow God. So the angel of the Lord gave him a specific command. What was that? No matter what happens, what you do, what? Don't look back. But her heart was in Sodom and Gomorrah. And she didn't have the faith that it took to see what's ahead. She just thought everything is going to be utterly destroyed. So with all the calamities that's going down behind her, because her heart was there, she looked back. And that's something to keep in mind, that when these calamities come upon us, when the end of the world, when it's time for us to flee, so on and so forth. If you look back at the things that you have obtained, or you look back at certain family members, or you look back at certain things that you've become accustomed to, that's going to become your grave. That's going to become your grave, whether it be a loved one, mother, father, a child, anybody who's not in step with the Most High's order at that time, you need to cut loose. So but Babylon has taught us, I work for this. I work for this house. I work for this car. Why would I relinquish it? I'm going to stand here and fight my ground. That'll be foolish. And we're going to go into that into the lesson. So the scriptures tell us that, and the elder brought it out eloquently one time, where he said those things will become your grave. Mm-hmm. That person you saying, I'm going back to get, they're going to cause you to be like Lot's wife. That thing that you're going back to get. Because the scriptures tell us when it's time to flee, if you're on your rooftop, don't even go into your home. Just go. Because he's coming like a thief in the night. Right. So think about that. If you're on your rooftop, you don't have all the essentials that you're going to need. So guess what? It's going to take faith to know that you're going to get through to where you need to go with and be sustained with the things. Your faith is going to sustain you. So we're going to get into all of that. So let's get it going. The first commentary.
Okay, and the first commentary reads, there have been many articles, documentaries, news segments, etc. on the mark of the beast. It is clear that the technology is clearly in the earth presently. While other generations simply read about it in the Bible, this present generation will be met with the challenge of the mark and everything that comes with this technology being implemented. The challenge is, what will you do when the mark of the beast is implemented worldwide? Will you choose the world under Satan, or will you choose the eternal world to come under the Most High? Time to prepare our spirits to be ready for the time ahead through learning about the faith needed to make it through.
So it said, while other generations simply read about it in the Bible, which is our forefathers, this present generation, so the generation now, it said this present generation will be met with the challenge of the mark and everything that comes with this technology being implemented. So what I just prefaced a minute ago, you kind of see what is going already about faith, and then the first commentary is going into what? The mark. The mark of the beast. The boogeyman, that boogeyman we heard about coming up in Christianity all throughout our years in church, that the church couldn't break down and couldn't give you an explanation of, and you know, they would mention it in Revelations, but they wouldn't go into it and break it down. And, you know, that baffled me. That baffled me as a kid. You know, I don't know. It was just something working with my mind as a kid. I'm like, wait a minute. So it's going to be beasts and they're going to search you out? Because that's what they was telling us in Christianity. I'm sure y'all heard the saying, it'll be beasts that will search us out and you won't be able to read from the scripture, so on and so forth. So, you know, I'm thinking at the time, actual beasts. And that's kind of how they was explaining it. Like, yeah, it's going to be these beasts. They're going to be coming after people and you won't be able to hide anywhere. So I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be these ferocious beasts that's coming and searching us out. You know, they're going to be able to sniff us out. And to a certain degree, that's true. And it's technology. Like, okay, no matter where you at right now, even when you so-called off the grid, they able to find you through what? Technology. You know, maybe from the simplest thing, from the watch that you have on, you know, or it could be something, you know, you see it in movies. They after somebody and he going off the grid, but what'd he do? He make that one phone call for 13 seconds to tell his mom happy birthday. And the government been waiting, like, we got him. He surfaced his head after all this time. Like, we got, like, that's the beast system. Technology. So that's what's gonna search you out. And we become addicted to technology. So you can kind of see where this is going. So, you know, like I said, when I was a kid, I had a lot of questions like, but they always taught, like, this was the boogeyman part of the scriptures that they didn't go into. Now with us having this truth, we have that understanding, and we're able to break these scriptures down from precept and Daniel with the book of Revelations, and because we got the proper understanding, to now that we baffle those pastors and preachers. So that beast system is upon us, and the time of, you know, that time is now. So it's saying that we will see it in this generation. So, you know, and if we're not spiritually prepared, if you're not spiritually prepared, you will accept the mark. Right. Point blank, period. Because, you know, like I said, I was a kid, and I used to be like, Mom, so, you know, because that was their fear. That was their fear tactic, was always to scare you, like, with this mark of the beast, without giving you leaving it real ambiguous, without giving you no real definition or explanation of anything. It was just like, you just got to be saved and have the Holy Ghost, and you'll be okay. So I'm up here thinking, like, okay, I'm thinking all kind of ways around, because I'm a kid, you know, I got a mind of somebody that's trying to be cunning, like, okay. So what if this and what if that? And, like, you know, they couldn't explain it. So they'll just tell you, look, just be ready, just be this and just be that. So some parts of that is true, what we learned in Christianity, that, you know, this beast system is coming, but now with more understanding, we can go more in depth. So let's get the first set of scriptures that's speaking of this. Revelations 13 and 11. We go in Revelations 13, 11 through 17.
When you dare say con?
So yeah, that was kind of that we're gonna bring some. We're gonna put a face to this boogeyman of who the beast are that Christianity didn't teach us.
Okay, this is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Okay, so right off, who knows who this beast is that the Revelator is speaking of? Anybody want to take a crack at it? Revelation chapter 13. Okay, that's the Roman Empire. Or yeah, okay. And which coincides with what? In a sense, modern day Babylon, correct? Okay, so let's go. Verse 12. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
Continue.
13. And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Okay, so with proper understanding, the 4 beasts that the book of Revelation speaks of, you know, like I said, precepts to the beast that Daniel had the vision of. And we know that the beasts are empires. The beasts are empires of the captivities that the children of Israel will be under, and that will rule the world. Those are the beasts. So the mark of the beast isn't an individual, like we were taught falsely in Christianity coming up. The mark of the beast isn't an individual; it's a system, and it's government or empire or nation established. So, you know, with further understanding, you understand that at different times throughout centuries, certain empires get to rule the earth. And then it's a spiritual battle that takes place in the heavenly realm when those empires are transitioning. So when it's going from Egyptian to Assyrian, or from Assyrian to Babylonian, that takes place in the heavenly realm and the spiritual realm that we don't see first and foremost, because it has to be a transition of power in the heavens, and then that power is established in the physical, in the physical that we see. So, you know, we seen where Rome was the superpower, and then how it converted into over to what's called as America now, or the daughter of Babylon. Right. So we seen in scripture how it went from the Grecian Empire into the Roman Empire. So that transition takes place in the spiritual realm first, then it takes place in the physical. And then you'll say, oh, look, like, you know, now all power has went to so-called America. Continue. So that's just the backstory. So the 4 beasts are speaking of empires, and those beasts, physical beasts that the prophets are witnessing, yeah, they got beastly faces and features and things like that, but it's all symbolic of something. It's all symbolic of that empire, you know, okay, that's Rome, that's Greece, that's so-and-so, that's Babylonian. So that's what the Revelator is bringing out. Go ahead.
Okay, we had 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
So it said, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Who is the he? Satan. Satan is the he. He's the one who's given these empires, these empires, the power. He's the one there. The Caesar Amalek are trading off. They're basically saying, okay, Satan's going to give me this information. Satan's going to give me this information to rule over people in the physical, and I'm gonna reign with him when he takes down Christ. So that's their deal. Their deal is, okay, I'm gonna get some understanding to rule over people. So Satan is giving them that power. Satan is giving them that understanding, which translates to us as power because, they got a hand over us. All right, continue.
Verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor.
Wait, start that over. It said, start that over.
Verse 13 and 16, and he causeth all.
All. It didn't say some, it said all. So that means, like I said before, if you're not righteous, you can't resist. You won't be able to resist. So that was the thing about, what I brought up when I was a kid. I was thinking of ways I can outsmart, and asking my mom, and she was basically saying there's no way around it. There's not going to be any way around it. And that's what it is. You can't resist. It's just, you're not girded up spiritually. You won't be able to resist it. So that's where the faith comes in, even when you girded up spiritually. Continue.
And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand.
That's all right there. Mm-hmm. That's all. So everybody falls somewhere in one of these categories. Small and great. So I mean, if you small in a nation small in number or great in number, rich and poor, free or bond. So every last person falls into one of those categories or something. So that's all. Go ahead.
Mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Mark. So when you see that in the Hebrew, that's etching or like a mark or something. And so we know that's the and we see that now with them implementing the chip. Now we've seen that. Where you at?
17.
All right, go ahead.
Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So
that's where we headed. That's where we headed in this world, is where that if you don't have this mark, if you don't accept the chip, you won't be able to buy, sell, trade, none of that. You won't be able to eat. You won't be able to support yourself. You won't be able to have none of the things that you've accomplished. You won't be able to sustain anything. So right now, so that's why we perform, we practice fasting. That's why, we do all these things to get our flesh under control. Because when it's all said and done, if we're used to gluttony, and then when the time comes where see, right now we have the liberty to go in our refrigerator. We go in our refrigerator, oh, I'm gonna grab this. And if it's not in there, we got access to go get it, right. Correct? So if we don't have something, it's not like it's a famine in the sense in the land where we just out of luck. We have access to go get it. So if we don't have some in our refrigerator, we could just turn around, we could just go up the street to the store and get it. But that liberty is not gonna always be there. That liberty is not gonna, so I fasted for days at a time before, and in the middle of the night, hunger pains will wake you up. But I have to keep my flesh under subjection, where it's like, okay, I'm not gonna go get nothing to eat or drink. That takes discipline. That takes obedience. But what are you going to do when it comes down to it and you're starving like that, and it's not necessarily a fast, it's that it's a famine. And the only way for you to eat is to trade off your soul for the mark. But you haven't been practicing that. You haven't been, like I say all the time, this is what we're going through, keeping the Shabbat, fasting on a regular. These things are a dress rehearsal. They're a dress rehearsal. Before the main event, this is a dress rehearsal. Every major play on Broadway, so on and so forth, you have your, rehearsals, but then, a dress rehearsal is when you in full garb, you in full everything, lights, the music. It's like the real deal, but it's not the real deal. This is a dress rehearsal. So that's what we're practicing. We all should be practicing on a weekly basis. This is a dress rehearsal. If you're not used to keeping the Sabbath, then how you gonna build up? How you gonna keep the law? How you gonna build up those works? Because when we make it to the kingdom, most high willing, we're gonna be keeping the Sabbath then. You ain't gonna get in the kingdom and be doing your own thing. Like, what y'all got going on today? They're like, we keeping the Sabbath. What you doing? Oh, y'all doing that again? Man, we just did that last week. Right. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be like that. Mm-hmm. You guys, it's gonna be a righteous act you already performing. Right. So this is a dress rehearsal we going through. So, you know, that's the thing. Like, so we got to get our flesh under subjection, because if not, when these afflictions come, you'll be able to denounce them. You'll be able to say, okay, I'm not taking that mark. But then, how you gonna feel when your heartstrings get tugged on? If you got little ones, if you got children, you know, that's why it's a blessing to see families bringing their children here and they coming up in this. So those practices of Babylon won't even necessarily be implemented or embedded into their children, because they bring their children up in this walk. So their children know the Shema. Their children know when mom or dad say, don't eat this, I'm not gonna sneak and eat it. Like, they don't know what pork tastes like. They don't know what certain foods taste like that we at some point even partook in. You understand? So it's one thing to say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be able to, but when your baby over there crying and the hunger pains, where's your faith that the Most High gonna end up providing not only for your mouth but your family mouth? You understand? Because we're taught to say it's right there for you to accept. All you got to do is take it. Like the elder always say, that money gonna still be in your bank account. They gonna say the money's still there, it's still yours. But you gotta just accept this mark. And we've been programmed to be like, yeah, that's mine. I'm not gonna let it just go to waste. I'm not gonna let the government have it. God want me to have the things. That's why he blessed me with the job. Right. So yeah, it's my money. If God can't understand that, God wouldn't make me do that. God, you know, that's how we think. That's how our mind works. That's how Babylon has shaped us to think. Like, we can't relinquish nothing. We don't know what it's like to struggle. You know, we don't know what it's like to be without. Because even some of the poorest people, you know, they still get fed. So that's a whole nother thing that we're going to touch on, is that, you know, how those people going to be, when this comes, they'll be teaching us how to survive. You understand? We'll be learning from those meat. All right, let's get the next commentary.
The commentary reads, not being able to purchase food and other real goods will bring quite an issue to the table if you have not spiritually prepared yourself for this time to come.
I was just saying that. Go ahead.
Without that mark, which is a sign of alliance to Satan, you will not exist as far as society is concerned, and most will crumble under the idea of not being accepted by those in the world who choose to align themselves permanently with the beast system. At the height of every empire, the people are forced to show alliance to the gods over that empire, and the last worldwide empire under Satan will be no different.
So the last worldwide empire under Satan will be no different. That's the one we're in right now. That's the one we're in at this present time. So why would this empire be any different than the ones before it? Mm-hmm. You got to show your alliance with the empire or be martyred. You have to show your alliance with Satan or be martyred. And that's where Satan plays at, is in that fear. Mm-hmm. That's where he gets you to gamble at, is in that fear. Because the fear of not knowing is where he starts entertaining us. You know, it's always like, well, man, I can't, you know, we overthink it, like, well, I can't believe that when this happened, then this is how it's gonna go down. So it's the fear of not knowing, because, you know, people who get paid weekly or bi-weekly, you know you got a check coming. People who get paid on commission, they know if they get up and go to work, they got a check coming if they get out there and grind. And therefore, if you got a check coming, I might be broke today, but when I get paid, it's like hitting the reset button. So what you gonna do when that's not there? That assurance isn't there. Now you're not seeing anything, you know, now it's like that's when the panic set in, and that's when Satan started entertaining you. And then everyone else in the world is gonna be a part of that alliance. And you know how we are, we look at people and be like, man, everybody doing it, so, you know, and nothing happened to them. And I believe when the chip and the beef system is really implemented into the chip form, as we are already seeing, initially, I believe it's going to be looked at it. Those people are going to be looking. They're going to be looked at as thriving. It's probably going to be worked out for them in the sense of we need them to look a little bit more glorious than everybody else walking around. So you might be like, man, such and such from my job got the chip. I can't believe it. And then 3 months later down the line, you see him prospering and see him this and that. That's all about design. That's all about Satan's design. Because we still got those eyes as to where it's like that's enhancing to us. Like, man, what did he do to get that? Or how did he accomplish that? So I believe initially it's going to look glamorous. You know, it's going to look like his life took off in a sense because not because it can't look wicked. If he start coming in there and he falling apart and looking frail and be like, yeah, man, they ain't been the same, man, since he got that chip. I know not to get that. You're going to be coming in there, because Satan can make you look glorious too. Right. You're going to be coming in there, every time y'all go out to lunch, it's on him. Hey, it's on me. I got everybody. He's going to look prosperous. That's how Satan is going to operate. So, let's go to the next set of scriptures. In 2nd Esdras 16:35. 2nd Esdras 16:35. So that's what's going to get a lot of us is that broad path. We all, like, human nature kind of makes us always feel like we want to be accepted. Right. It always makes us feel like, man, I want to be accepted by people. And then we can see a bunch of people on a path of destruction. And subconsciously, we'll sit there and be okay with it because it'll be like, well, if we all gonna get killed and slaughtered, at least I won't be alone. Right. Think about that. You can see herds and herds of people make the wrong decision and be led to slaughter, and subconsciously you'll be like, well, if we're gonna die, I don't know about this choice, but if something happened to me, at least it's gonna happen to them too. Right. Idiotic. But we'll sit there and woe ourselves into that belief. We'll sit up there and buy into that. So let's go to 2nd Esdras 16:35.
Okay, this is 2nd Esdras 16:35, and we're reading through 46. 35 reads, "Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Most High." 36. "Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake."
So believe not the gods, that's a lowercase g. Mm-hmm. So these gods and these entities and these idols that the Most High spoke about, don't believe. But they're going to be prevalent. They're going to be in society, but he gave you a warning. Mm-hmm. Continue.
"Behold, the plagues will draw nigh and are not slack."
So the plagues will draw nigh and are not slack. And those plagues are here now and they're not holding back. Mm-hmm. Think about it. We got homosexuality going rampant, fear, food poisoning, just all types of sins. We got hate. We got killings going on. Those are plagues too. And they not holding back. Homosexuality is not holding back. Homosexuality is not taking a day off from implementing or coercing society with their beliefs. Mm-hmm. The homosexuality spirit and that movement in the earth is not like, we really been bearing down on all the straight people for the past couple months. Let's give them a break, man. Because man, we've been killing them. We've been just really pushing it. We pushing it to the kids. Advertisement. Let's take a week off and then see. Nah, they doubling down. That's a plague. Continue.
38. "And when a woman, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb. Which pains, when the child come forth, they lack not a moment."
So who is the woman with the child in this allegory? Who's the woman with the child? That's Israel. We know that to be Israel. So it's comparing Jacob's trouble to the travails of a woman's pregnancy. What it say when she's 2 or 3 hours of her birth? So within it's about to happen. Like that's when she starts travailing worse, and really feeling like, okay, this is the culmination of this pregnancy. I'm about to bring forth. I'm about to deliver. So that's what this is an allegory to, is that, you know, it's in comparison to Israel is the woman, and Jacob's trouble and the children of Israel and the lost sheep are the children. Continue.
39. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side.
So sorrow shall come up on every side. And since we've been here, we've known none but sorrow. We've known none but trouble. We came up, we had to hear about everything that went down in the civil rights, and the beatings and the lynchings and the such and such. Then, you know, I came up, I was born in 76, so I came up in the 80s. So I've seen a lot of things. You know, I've seen a lot of a lot of kidnappings going on. Then in the late 80s going into the 90s, it's the whole drug epidemic. So that's just in my time here. You understand? So that's even going back to the 60s and 70s and so on and so forth with the civil rights and all the infractions that's been upon our people. So we've always known trouble. If we listen to our parents, they've known trouble. If we listen to our grandparents, they've known trouble. Like, this is speaking to us. This is our book. This is our history. It's not speaking to nobody else. You don't hear other nations talking about, you know, to the capacity that we've been experiencing, talking about, I bet you $20 to a donut that you never heard an Asian person talking about the drug epidemic in the 80s and 90s, talking about, man, they almost got me. Like, that's just not nothing they dealt with. They didn't deal with that. You don't go in the Asian community and hear about how gangster rap transformed the entire neighborhood. That's just not their woe. That's not their trouble. You won't hear Asians, saying those things. Continue.
Verse 40. O my people, hear my words. Make you ready for the battle. And in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth.
Be as pilgrims upon the earth. So that means be ready to move. Be out of your comfort zone. Be ready to pick up your tabernacle or your tent and roll out. Like it's destruction coming up on us. Let's go. Be as pilgrims. It's total different than what we have now. Total different than what we have now. And I've been beginning to shape my mind around it, like, we're not gonna always be here. We're gonna have to be as pilgrims. But we so spoiled, we won't even know how to deal with that. What you mean I gotta leave my house? I just paid my rent. That's what people are gonna be thinking. I just paid my mortgage.
Yep.
Yesterday. You think he'll let me get it back so we can take it with us? You see what I'm saying? That's how we think. We like, if we fleeing, we gonna flee next month because I just paid. That's right. I ain't finna leave and I just paid. That's how we think. We beholden to that stuff, for real. Think about it. Man, we Israel. You just gave them X amount of $100 and today? We leaving today? And I just sent the check off? What about in 30 days? That's how we are. Continue.
Verse 41. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose.
Right, so that means your goods and all the things that you sell or your business, it's going to be of no, you got to move around. Continue.
Verse 42. He that occupieth merchandise, as he that hath no profit buyeth, and he that buildeth, as he that shall not dwell therein.
Where you at?
Verse 43 now.
43, continue.
Verse 43. He that soweth as if he should not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes.
Continue.
Verse 44. They that marry as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers.
Continue.
And therefore they that labor in vain.
45. I let him continue right there because from 41 to 45 is the culmination of it. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away. Skip down to 42. He that occupieth merchandise, as he that have no profit by it. And he that buildeth, as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth, as if he should not reap. So also that he planteth the vineyard, and that he shall not gather the grapes. They that marry as that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. So that's basically saying everything we're doing and laboring in for Babylon is in vain.
Bring it out.
It's in vain. So you working to put an addition on your house, and that might be a necessity. But if you're doing it in the sense of gaining something in riches of this world, it's in vain. And it's okay to have things. It's okay to work toward things, because some things are a necessity, but your heart shouldn't be in it. Well, guess what? Like I said earlier, it's going to become your grave. That addition you putting on your house is going to become your tomb. Those goods and merchandise that you have are going to become what leads you to death, because we have a spirit upon us that we can't relinquish anything. So all of that was being said in those scriptures, in those verses right there, and to say in the overall picture, the things we work for in Babylon are in vain.
Right.
You plant that vineyard, you plant that garden. That's not to say you shouldn't or you can't, but long term, it's in vain. Somebody else gonna come along and say, there's some fruit here, some vegetables here. Somebody else gonna come and get in that house and say, man, this is a nice house. I like the addition that they put on here. Somebody else gonna come in there and get your merchandise and your goods and say, man, look at these jewels, look at this. I like this vase, so on and so forth. Because guess where you're gonna be? You're gonna be as a pilgrim. You gone. If you got the right righteous mindset, you're gonna be gone. Off the rooftop of your house and going with the things that you have on your back, and you out. But if you don't, and you stay and try to dwell with those things, when those people come amongst you, they're gonna come in, oh, this is a nice house, this is a nice addition. Wait a minute, somebody up in there, you trying to defend it, take them out. Now they take you out, now they saying, yeah, this is nice. The same result came about, it just became your tomb now. So why let it become your tomb when you should be as a pilgrim and moving, as the scriptures say, when you understand prophecy, when you in one city and danger come about, you flee to the next, and then you flee to the next, and then you flee to the next. Prophecy tells us that. And if you're spiritually in tune with the Most High, you understand those prophecies. But like I said, if you looking back and saying, you know what, I gotta go get so-and-so, and then I gotta do this, and then I gotta do that, and then I gotta do, and then we can flee, then we can go, then we can leave. That's what Lot's wife was doing. If you go back to the story of Lot and his family, in a sense, they were procrastinating. They were procrastinating. If you go back to the ordeal they were having in the house when the angels said, get everything, and then it tells you, in a sense, I'm paraphrasing, but they basically had to hurry them up.
Grab them, snatch them up out of there.
Yeah, because Israel, we got to grab that picture frame, like, oh man, that's my graduation picture. I got to grab this, and you got the coffee pot?
Right.
Did you get it, or did I get it? Mm-hmm. That's what they was doing, procrastinating. To the point the angels had, hey man, let's get up out of here. We got business to take care of. You need to flee with what you have on you. But that's how we'll do. And that those things will become your tomb. Continue.
Finishing up in verse 46. For the strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods. overthrow their houses, and take their children captive. For in captivity and famine shall they get children.
Exactly. So captivity and famine shall they get children. So that sums up what I was just saying. So what's the counter to that? Faith. Because remember, that's what this whole lesson is about, having faith. You don't care what you have established or what you have occurred. If you got faith, just like Job, it's going to be reestablished to you. And guess what? It may not come to the kingdom at that point. But I would rather get that reward from than anything that I can get in the store or anything that's going to dissolve. I think that's what we miss a lot of times, is the big picture. The big picture while we in this walk is to make it to the kingdom. The sole purpose of why we are born is to serve the Most High. All this other stuff we're doing is a byproduct.
Right.
It's a byproduct. What shirt I put on, what pair of shoes I decide to wear, that's just a byproduct of me living on day to day. But the sole purpose for us, for coming into this world, is to serve the Most High. We forget that. We forget that because we get caught up in society. We forget that because we get caught up in Babylon. Now those things we become a prisoner of. So if you have the faith and you on that spiritual walk, you willing to relinquish anything to make it to the kingdom. Because eyes have not seen and ears have not heard.
That's right.
You can't even begin to imagine the gloriousness of the kingdom. And you're going to give all that up for a 2019 whatever? Mm-hmm. You're going to trade that for the kingdom? You understand? When it's not going to be any shops or anything to take it. You're going to give that all up for your home? That's going to dissolve, that the water going to be shut off anyway. The power going to be shut off anyway. So you'll be fighting for something that's not even, that you won't even benefit from. If you stay and defend that home when this is all going down, because we're talking about a certain time period here. It's going to all be for naught anyway, because eventually the water going to be tainted. The power going, so now you're just going to be in a, you might as well be out. You might as well be in the wilderness.
Right.
Because your home going to become cold and decrepit and molding and so on and so forth. So we got to really wrap our minds around what's the reward for us at the end of this. But let's get the next commentary.
And the commentary reads, "And the chaos which will transpire in the days to come, all that you own may belong to someone else. Many fall victim to false religion and false doctrines of false gods that make you believe that the prophecies are to be taken lightly. Our faith is what will matter in those last days, because it's the one thing that can't take from you."
That's the one thing they can't take away from you, is your faith. They can offer you everything, but the one thing they can martyr you, but even with that, it takes faith to be martyred. It takes faith to understand that I'm about to be martyred and I'm fine with that. You understand? And here it is, we live where if you threaten to pinch somebody, they whole body seize up. I'm gonna pinch you, but here it is, what you gonna do when somebody got a gun in your head and say, who your God again? Ahia. You understand? Is you gonna take Baal? Is you gonna kneel to Baal? Or you gonna claim Ahia? That's what we headed toward. But how are we ready for that if my brother sees up every time I threaten to pinch him?
Right.
You understand? We not ready for anything. Let's get the next set of scriptures. Second Esdras.
The second Esdras 16 and 70.
So that's what it takes faith to endure these things. It takes faith to sustain us. It takes faith to claim that name of Ahia when your back is against the wall. And sure destruction is in your face. You could prepare for things. You understand? You can prepare for things, but if you're not spiritually girded up, or you're not on the right side of righteousness, and you're gonna become a coward, it's gonna come out. I like boxing, so a lot of times, I watch fights, and I've seen people say, "Oh yeah, man, this fight coming up, he's scared of him," and I'll be like, bruh, most men that get in that ring, some about them fear is not a part of them like that. And unless you ever done that before, you might not understand that. But fear is not upon them like that, for that sport. That some of those guys are gladiators to that sport. But as a common man, we'll sit there and be like, yeah, he's scared and this, that, and that. And guess what? Fatigue will turn a man into a coward. You understand? Fatigue will turn you into a coward. And I seen that when Mike Tyson, one of his fights, you never seen Mike Tyson like that, but he wasn't physically in shape, mentally, none of that, emotionally, and he was fatigued. And I remember him just getting hit, and it was a second where I just seen fear in his eyes. He's a true gladiator of the sport, but guess what made him a coward? Fatigue. That's some boxers, that's their gift, is being efficient and being in shape. So, but when you're fatigued, you feel like bowing out, you feel like tapping out. You understand? So if we're spiritually fatigued, you're gonna give in. If you not, see people will say, oh, I fast because I'm not eating that much anyway. That's not fasting. It's not fasting. You just not eating that much, but that's not fasting. You understand? So if you're not preparing and spiritually in shape, you're gonna become a coward, and you're gonna accept that mark, because your faith is not even there. Your faith is not even where it should be, because you're not even in your walk, and you're not even girded up like you should be spiritually. So let's get those scriptures.
This is 2nd Esdras, verse 16 and 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Most High.
So a great insurrection. So an insurrection is a violent uprising from government, authority, something like that. So it says it's going to be an insurrection against who?
Against those that fear the Most High.
Those who fear the Most High. So those who fear the Most High are whom? Those, the saints that keep his commandments. The saints that keep his commandments are those who fear the Most High. That's who the insurrection is against. The insurrection is not against those who out here super wicked, because they got them by default anyway. They want the defiant ones. They want you. They want us. Everybody else is easy. We got them. It's these rebels that we want. It's these spiritual rebels that's calling on that God, that power of YASHIYA. Those are the ones we want. So it's going to be an insurrection against us. So therefore, that turns everyone else in society, what? Against us. Continue.
Verse 71. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Most High.
There we go again. Those that fear the Most High. So those that are keeping the commandments, what did it say? They're going to be like madmen, sparing none, but still. Why do it say still? It says, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Most High. It says still because, like I said earlier, we've always known these troubles. It says still. This was written hundreds of years ago. It says still. So that's aimed at us. So it never stopped. It never stopped for us. Continue.
For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses.
Continue.
Verse 73. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire.
And they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. So Will you give it up for the Most High? Are you going to give it up for the Most High? Are you willing to relinquish everything that you have gained for the Most High? Because it says, then shall they be known. They are the ones who are going to be tried, tribulated. That's speaking of us as well. Because a lot of us is claiming it. You understand? But have you ever really been tried? You know, have you? No, we haven't. We talk about the persecutions and tribulations that we got going on when we step outside these doors, but that's really nothing compared to what's coming our way. We like to think that we have faith. We like to think that we girded up, but, you know, are you spiritually in shape to not be fatigued and cower and take the knee to Baal? Are you going to proclaim a higher to your last breath? So we like to think that we ready. We like to think we got faith, and that's why we got to thank the Most High for the mercy, His mercy and grace, because He looking down like, man, you know, I'm gonna give Him a little more time. Right. And from Shabbat to Shabbat, is just, you know, we got to be thankful for it, because if it really came down to it, we'd be like, I mean, we'll be, you know, God forbid, watching each other fall by the wayside. Continue.
Verse 74. Hear, O ye my beloved, said the Most High. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Verse 75. Be you not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your God.
So be ye not afraid, neither doubt. So verse 74, where it says, but I would deliver you from the same, that kind of precepts to Daniel 12:1, where it tells you Michael the archangel will be working on our behalf. So when these calamities is going on and destruction is going on, we're going to be hedged. And in the invisible, the archangel going to be working on our behalf. Tells you that in Daniel 12:1. We're going to be seeing calamities going down and like, man, here come another set of troops coming toward us. We got to go through what we just went through. But you don't see in the invisible where that archangel is slaying them. You don't see in the invisible where that archangel got us on one side of the street and they on the other, and we walking right past and they don't even see us. You don't see that. But it took faith. It's going to take faith for you to say, some type of way we finna make it through here. And people gonna be like, how can you say that? Look at them, they right there. The Spirit tells me to let y'all know this is what our leaders would tell us. Continue on our path. And we'll walk and probably be 20 feet away, and the whole time they can't see us, or the whole time they distracted by something else. But guess what? It took faith. And then it takes discipline and obedience. It's no different than the army, a general leading troops. If I give you a command, if he gives you a command or something, say, look, we're going to walk 2 blocks. Not one person say one word. Can you do that? Well, you know Israel, oh my goodness, they going to kill us. Now you got all us killed.
Yeah.
Now you got all us killed.
Right, absolutely.
Because you have no discipline, and you're not obedient, and you're not girded up, and you had no faith. Because if the Most High is telling us, lead them 2 blocks down and make a left, say, okay, Father, there's troops right there. Lead them 2 blocks down and make a left.
Right.
And then that leader turns around and tell the people the same. Follow me. We're going 2 blocks down and make a left. You know Israel. They gonna kill us. They gonna kill us. They gonna kill us. Let's just turn ourselves in. Right. Let's just go. The mark ain't gonna be that bad.
Right. Let's go right.
The mark ain't gonna be that bad. Mm-hmm. Now I'm looking at you like, what is the Spirit telling me to do to you? Because do I need to choke you out?
Exactly.
You understand? But this is what we're gonna be facing. This is what we're gonna be facing. Those you gonna what the previous one said, then shall they be known who are my chosen. Mm-hmm. Like this is not a game. This is not a game. This might seem like spookism or what they call gloom and doom, fear mongering. But you know, as a kid, this stuff always weighed on me. And when I came into this truth, it was just like, man, you know, and it's not that I'm a doom and gloom person. It's just that I just deal with reality. Like I know I don't really sell myself the idea of fairy tales. Like I know some of these same people they're training in the military, they're training them to turn on the very people that look like them. So that's truth. That's not doom and gloom. So when that reality happens, I would like to think I can stand there and be like, I knew this would happen. I knew, you know. But a person who finna get slaughtered would be like, so you gonna kill? Oh my goodness! I'm not going out like that, Most High willing. Right. You know, I can't believe you killing me. He killing me, y'all. You see what I'm saying? Right. Because we're never in tune with the reality of things. Right. We thought everybody was our friend. How can this person do this to me? How can they, you know, are you seeing what's going on in these other nations? What these troops are doing overseas? Their consciousness is gone. Their consciousness is gone, so it's not going to be nothing to turn on their own people, and then they're going to be chipped. So the beast system going to control them. So while you standing there, there go my cousin, he in the military. Don't call your cousin over here. Right. Don't call him over here. No, that's my cousin. That was your cousin. Right. He's number such and such, and his chip is activated. Don't call him over here. This is what we're going to be facing. But we sheep. You know, I tell the brothers all the time, like, man, we sheep. Some can be to our own detriment. And we'll, like, come on, okay, come on. Like the elder say, a sheep is like, it'll see wolves and be like, man, those some different looking sheep. Why they not playing with us? I see it all the time. We'll invite danger sometimes. And the brothers will tell you, I'll be over there like, okay. Okay, I gotta talk to this person because, you know, you just invited danger amongst us. Right. Then they be like, I didn't even know. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, all right, let's continue. Where you at?
Go back to 75.
Yeah, go back to 75.
Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Most High higher. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift you up.
And let not iniquities. So don't worry about what you did in the past, and don't let the calamities that's going on cause you to be wicked. That's basically what they're saying. Right. So don't worry about when destruction is coming, keep that faith. Don't worry about what you did in the past. Don't say, you know what, this is coming back to me at this time because I did this and that. Don't worry about that. But at the same time, don't let that cause you to sin. Don't let that cause you to be wicked. Stay in that righteous walk. And the more of us that's like that, that's why we become a family unto ourselves. That's why we become a family unto ourselves. You understand? If we get in that, if this time comes and I start injecting certain people in my family amongst my righteous family, that's not going to be good. That's not going to be a good additive. And then if this brother, and then this sister, and then that brother. Now we got people that's really not, you know, they weren't really following the laws, this, that, and the third. They're going to get us slaughtered. Or they're going to try to slaughter us. You understand? So that's why we got to have the righteous fortitude to make it through this with one another. That's why it's our job right now to uphold one another. You see what I'm saying? So if anybody look at you like, man, you know, you always with them brothers from church. You always with them sisters from church. You know, and they telling you that. And this, they'll be like, they don't understand. This is my family now. So I got to uphold you all because when I get weak, I would pray that you would uphold me. You understand? So that's the vein we have to be in. And that's what the Most High's grace and mercy is teaching us. So let's keep moving forward. Let's get the next commentary.
And the commentary reads, It's easy to say we love the Most High and have faith now.
That's self-explanatory. Go ahead.
But what happens when this trial comes to pass? If you are not putting down your sins and are waiting to the last minute, you will fail. Those same sins will cause you to be double-minded, and many shall take the mark simply to still be able to partake in their sins.
Wow. Wow. It said, if you are not putting down your sins and waiting to the last minute, you will fail. You will fail. That's what it's saying. When I was a kid and I learned about the mark of the beast and how the world would be destroyed with fire, and I knew that was nuclear war. I knew that was nuclear warfare. I knew that as a kid. So like as a kid, I'm trying to be, like I said, I'm trying to be cunning. And I'm trying to get Israel, we want a sign. I'm like, okay. I'm asking people in the church and my mother like, all right, so when will we know when this gonna happen? Because I'm at this point now, I'm probably like 12, 13, something like that. So I'm thinking like, it's the boogeyman. But at 12, 13 years old, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm like 13. This probably gonna happen around the time when I'm 25. I don't know, I just gave myself that number. Like, this gonna be when I'm about 25. So I ain't gotta be in no rush. But when I turn 25, then I'm gonna get it straight. Became 25, I'm 43 now. So became 25. Did I get it straight? No, because I'm looking around like society's still flowing. You're still able to go about your day-to-day life. You're still able to maintain in society. Like, well, it's nothing, it's just some bad stuff going on, but it ain't end of the world bad. So that's what I thought about when I was coming up. So let's get the next set of scriptures from that commentary. But it says, if you are not putting down your sins and are waiting till the last minute, you will fail. Because in my mind, I bring that up because in my mind, I was like, well, I'll just get it right when I'm 25. Because this will give me about 10, 12 years. That's the number I had put, just fooling myself. And still wasn't, when it came down to it. So that just, what I'm saying is, I had 25 in my mind, and 25 done came and went 18 years ago for me.
Right.
So that was the last minute for me. 12 years before that. And then when that time came, so if I had a mindset as a person, what's to change our mindset now? Nothing. Because a lot of us think like that. Well, we tell people, all right, you got to do this and you got to do this and this how you got to be. All right, well, when that time comes, then I'll do it. Like, okay, that ain't going to work. It's not going to work. Like I said, this is a dress rehearsal. What we living right now is a dress rehearsal. You go through this part of the rehearsal like it's the main event. Like the seats are filled. That's what you do. This is not like the first rehearsal we had when half the people was late and then the guy who do the music ain't here and then, the costume's not on us. It's not like that. Now we at the dress rehearsal. We're in the last hour. We're in the last days. We're in the fourth quarter. This game day, this is when it's all on the line. It's only a few seconds left. That's where we at. All right, let's get the next set of scriptures.
Okay, we're going to Matthew 4 and 1 through 4.
So this is going to give us some examples of having faith. Let's go right in.
Matthew 4 and 1. And then was YASHIYA led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil.
To be tempted of the devil, of Satan. Go ahead.
And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterwards and hungered.
Continue.
And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of the Most High, command these stones to be made bread.
Mm-hmm.
But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of YASHIYA.
So Christ going up into this mountain, he didn't wait to get up there to say, all right, let me get myself ready. Mm-hmm. He was prepared for the temptation. He had a certain understanding. Knowing that food food wasn't the only way to be nourished. But that's what's going to get a lot of us is just, and that's why I touched on it earlier, is just food, because we deal with gluttony. We deal with eating even if we're not hungry. I'm not even hungry, but I want something. Like, how you want something? You ain't even hungry. But we all say that. Like, I want to eat something, but I'm not eating. And we have spirits on us that have an insatiable appetite, even though they can't taste the food and benefit from it. They benefit in the sense of our gluttony. They got an insatiable appetite. That's the spirit. And we've all dealt with that to the point we should be like, yeah, I kind of know what that's like. I just ate a whole bag of chips and da-da-da-da-da, and then ate another one, then ate another, that's the time, a lot of times we need to go on a fast and get our spirit in check. That's a sign of that. But Christ was prepared for the temptation. And he knew, he said, man will not live off bread alone. So he knew that, things that are edible are not your only form of nourishment. You got to be spiritually, you got to have a spiritual appetite. You got to have a spiritual, be like, man, I need to get in this Bible. I need to get in this word. I need to do this. Or you basically being you having a famine from the word. You having a spiritual famine. So he understood that, like, I'm not tripping off nothing to eat. I've been up here 40 days, So that's not, man can't just live off of that. So look at us. Look at us when we're born. Pretty much, no matter whether you rich or poor, in between, you're fed every day. And even if you're poor and you're getting some type of food at some point, because you're still living or so on and so forth. So that's life, right? But it's not really life, because if you're not spiritually having that spiritual nourishment, you won't get that everlasting life. That spiritual nourishment is what gives you everlasting life. So like I said, Christ knew that physical food isn't the only form of nourishment. So we can say, all right, we've been on this earth such and such years. But if you're not spiritually fed, you're going where? To damnation. Right. But if you're spiritually fed and you following the law, so on and so forth, you got nourishment you're going to live a lifetime. You understand? So let's get the next commentary.
And the commentary reads, we all know the story. Satan offered YASHIYA all the things that a lesser man would have taken. Riches, food, and he even tried to tempt him to show his power and authority. YASHIYA steadfast and used the scriptures to fight against the adversary, and his diligence conquered that trial. We will be tempted to accept the mark simply through fear and starvation in some cases, but remember, Christ would rather have starved.
So Christ would rather have starved physically of food. He would rather have starved. How many of us can accept that? How many of us can endure those hunger pains? How many of us, like I said earlier, have been woken up in the middle of the night from the hunger pains from days fast and not break? And the minute you get over that, you excel even more spiritually, because you're like, man, okay. And then once your fast is over and you start, partaking in some food or water, what's the first thing you say? I could have went longer. Like, man, I could have went longer. Like, because now you're not even eating that much, and then your spirit kind of telling, like, but you have your limitations. You grow. You might start out half a day, so on and so forth. But the first thing most oftentimes you say, I could have went longer. And what would I have benefited from going longer? But you're building up to that, If any of y'all go out talking about, I'm going on a 40 night fast, I'll be like, oh, okay, that's the last time we're going to see them. You know what I'm saying? He ain't never even did 40 minutes. Like, bro, he like, that's my first fast. I'm doing 40 days, 40 nights. It was nice meeting you. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, You know, a river dirty. You understand? Like, this your first fast? Yeah, I'm going for the straight 40s, flat out the, okay. All right, yep. Man, if you make it, see you in the kingdom. Man, you know, but yeah, that's you know, you gotta build up to these things. You know what I'm saying? You gotta use wisdom. You gotta use wisdom. So, what was we at?
We read Luke 12 and 15.
Yeah, let's go to the next set of scriptures. We're going to Luke 12 and 15. So yeah, we're gonna have to have what it say? Christ used the scriptures. So we're gonna have to have this. We're gonna have to rely on that spiritual fortitude of scriptures that we've been eating. We've been eating precepts. We've been eating law. We've been eating all this stuff. We've been consuming this. That's what we're gonna have to. What we're gonna have to fortify ourselves with against the adversary, because we're gonna be in the midst of destruction. So when you're in the midst of destruction and calamities coming your way, hey, a scripture might hit you. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. You see what I'm saying? That's getting you through. Like, this is now, okay, I ate that before. So now at this time, I can use that to gird myself and get myself through something. I can get myself through these calamities that's going on. You know, the military got a gun to your head. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. You know, but if you never ate that, before, how you gonna bring it forth at that time? Are you gonna say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and hold on and key into that name of YASHIYA as that soldier, whomever, or the government or whomever coming against you with a gun to your head? Or is it gonna be, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, or is it gonna be like, hey, hold on, let me talk to you? Is it gonna be verbiage, or is it gonna be spiritual food that you've been fortifying yourself with? That's what it's gonna come down to. And it seemed like a joke till it's not one. Seemed like it's like when this stuff goes down, you're gonna wish you dedicated your whole life to serving the Most High, because you're gonna see everything you done did up to the end is for naught. You see what I'm saying? You ever had something in school when you was younger, you know, and you know the test is coming up. Then when it get real, or they call you up in front of the class and it get real, then it's like, at that moment you realize, we done had 2 weeks to study this. At this moment I realize if I can go back, I would dedicate those whole 2 weeks to doing nothing but, because now you out there. So while we out here working and doing the things that we doing and enjoying this and that, that's all fine and dandy, but where your spiritual nutrition coming from? Right. Because that's what the world is doing. So all of them gonna be taken. All of them gonna be destroyed. And some of them people that know us and we in this walk, like I say, they gonna try to call us then. They gonna try to hit that phone line. They're gonna try to reach out to you, and it's gonna be like, doo doo doo. That's what it's gonna be. This is a real thing we're dealing with. When we walk out this door right after this class, it might not be like that in our face at this moment, but this is what we coming toward. And if you might think it's doom and gloom, but at some point this doom and gloom is gonna be real. It's gonna be in front of us. It's gonna be before us. This is a real thing we're dealing with, and your faith gonna be tested. Most of us don't have faith on just a little, you know, a lot of common things that we deal with in life. You know, I don't have the greatest faith in the world, but, you know, I try to keep the mentality that things always got a way of working out. Like, I'm not finna be running around like a chicken with my head cut off. What am I, like, man, Most High willing, I'm still wake up tomorrow. I'm still have breath in my lungs, Most High willing. It ain't the end of the world because of, you know, but Babylon has taught us, why you not in the uproar and this is going on, right? Right. Everything got a way of working out. It's the mindset I try to hide. Let's continue.
Okay, this is Luke chapter 12, verse 15. And he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consists not in the abundance of the things which he possesses. Verse 16.
So verse 15, so those people whose possessions own them would not want to let go of them. I've been saying that. That's basically what that's saying. And so read that again.
And he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness.
Covetousness. People that want to possess things or overtake something of someone else's. Go ahead.
For a man's life consists not in the abundance of things which he possesses.
So the things that you have, that don't mean, I've had nice things before, and those things came and went. Those things that make me who I was. They was nice, they was okay, but they don't make me who I was. You see people, the things that they have make them who they are. I always try to have the mentality, because I've grown up and my determination is poor, but
Right.
remember I said that in front of my dad one time. I was like, I was telling somebody, I was like, because I grew up poor. Like, poor? What you mean you grew up poor? Like, what you mean you grew up poor? I'm like, we grew up poor, right? Like, man, what you mean? You tell them we grew up poor. You know what I'm saying? So then, like, my sons, they think they had it rough. I'm like, what you mean, poor? Like, man, you see this? You see that? You see what's in the refrigerator? Then I got to tell them about how I came up. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's a cycle, But, the things that we have, it's nice to have, but it shouldn't make you who you are. It shouldn't make you like, you see some of these entertainers and these shows that come on Cribs and what's the show back in the day? This Is How I'm Living. Yeah. Or you're not a baller if you don't have this. And that get into people's subconscious, and that makes you think, well, I gotta have this. This is a status. Those are status symbols. So that's what that scripture is saying. For a man's life consisteth not in the abundance of things which he possesseth. So you can have all of that and lose your soul. Continue.
Luke 12:16, and he spake a parable unto them, saying, the ground of a certain man brought forth plentifully. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my fruits.
So this rich man thinking like, man, what should I do? I got so much that I don't have no place to put all this. And I always wondered, that when I was a kid, I used to be like, man, they rich. Why they trying to get more money?
Right.
And I'm like, man, they said on TV, he got $10 million. Like 1 million is enough. Like, man, he can make 9 more people rich. Because, I'm thinking like $1 million is a lot. So I'm like, so as you get older, now I went to such and such, got 40 million, 100 million. And you're like, when is that enough? Like, how much is enough? Like, you seeing this with ball players making 150 million. Like, man, how much is enough? I always wondered as a kid, like, how, if he don't have to do anything, and he's rich. But this is Babylon. Continue.
And he said, this will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods.
So this rich man is saying, I got so much stuff, where am I put all this stuff? So he got an idea saying, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this barn down because it's nice and big and decent, but I need another storehouse to hold because I got even more. I need to hold more. So I'm gonna tear this one down and build one bigger and greater because I got more goods. Continue.
Verse 19, and I will say to my soul, soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry.
Continue.
Verse 20, but the Most High said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then who shall those things be which thou hast provided?
Exactly. So like we said earlier, somebody else gonna enjoy those riches. Somebody else gonna live in that house. Somebody else gonna benefit for those grapes you planted and then get the soul. Somebody else is gonna benefit from you building that house and then get to live in. We back to that now. Your faith is in the wrong things. Your faith is in the wrong things. Continue.
Verse 21, so is he that layeth up treasure for himself and is not rich toward the Most High.
So that richness isn't the richness that's not a richness that the Most High consider. If you're rich in spirit, you're rich.
Right.
Rich in keeping the law, you're a rich man. You're a perfect man to the Most High. What you got don't mean nothing. So the title of the lesson is The Faith That Will Feed Us. Those riches can only sustain you so much.
Mm-hmm.
You can only eat. You can eat the same amount of food I eat, and we're gonna be full. So, what your riches gonna do? Continue.
Verse 22. And he said unto his disciples, therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, neither for the body, what ye shall put on.
Exactly. So he telling disciples, don't worry about nothing. Don't worry about how you gonna eat, where you gonna live, Christ didn't even have a place to lay his head.
Mm-hmm.
He said, give that no thought.
Right.
Have faith. You're gonna be sustained. Told the disciples, you're gonna be sustained. I got you. Just go out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna tell you, go here. You're gonna be fed here. You're gonna be housed here. Our big brother Christ, same thing. Didn't have a place to lay his head. Continue.
Verse 23. The life is more than meat, and the body is more than raiment.
So your life is more than what you consume in your mouth and more than what the apparel that you wear or the goods that you buy. Like I said, it comes down to spiritual nutrition. It comes down to that. Food and supplements not the only thing that can nourish your body for eternal life. Let's get the next commentary.
And the next commentary reads, the problem with the system today is that it teaches the exact opposite.
Exactly, continue.
We worry ourselves to death to fill our bellies with junk and clothe ourselves with whatever society dictates are the popular trends. Our desire to live in such a way instead of having the mindset of Christ will cause many to fall because the system is coming into its fullness. Will be far more perverse with its indulgence and standards than now.
Yeah, so we'll be far more perverse following the lead of Babylon. If you let Babylon lead you, we already know where that takes us. So, a lot of times we let the society determine our mindset if we up to par or not. Like I said, they'll have shows and things where you're nobody in life if you don't have this. I know one time it was Cristal. You're not a baller if you don't have Cristal. I'm like, I guess I'm not a baller then. Man. And you probably not either because that's all for show. And then next thing you know, they filing bankruptcy. You understand? Let's get the next set of scriptures. 1 Kings 17:1. 1 Kings 17:1. Try to move through this.
Okay, this is 1 Kings chapter 17, verse 1. And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Galilee, said unto Ahab, as the Most High of Israel liveth before whom I stand, there should not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word.
So Elijah commanded that it won't be no rain according to his word. Continue. We get more into this. Continue.
And the word of the Most High came unto him, saying, get thee hence, and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself by the brook Cherith that is before Jordan.
So the Most High gave Elijah some commands. Like I said before, it takes obedience and discipline to walk righteously. So he gave Elijah some commands. He said, go to the east toward this brook that is around, Jordan. Continue.
Verse 4. And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there.
So the Most High telling them, like, this brook that you buy, this river or whatever you want to call it, a brook, this is going to sustain you, with something to drink. And he said, what? I commanded the ravens what?
To feed thee there.
So the Most High commanded the ravens, which are birds like crows, to feed Elijah. So basically, he's saying, Elijah, go here. It's going to be a famine. And Elijah said it's not going to rain, so it's going to be a famine. So everybody else is going to suffer. But the Most High told Elijah, I got you. You're going to be right here. You're going to drink from there, and the ravens are going to bring you food. Think about that. On a day-to-day basis, you're never going to be hungry or starve because you got birds that the Most High commanded to bring you food.
Right. Wow.
And all you need is water. Okay, there go a brook right there. And if you ever seen a brook is not like a regular river where the water, a brook is clear, it's clean, you can see to the bottom. Some of the cleanest water you've ever seen. So that's what it looks like. A brook is like, this is some good water here. And the food is going to come from birds overhead. The water. So the food are going to come from birds, some birds that the Most High commanded to bring the brother nourishment. Continue.
Verse 5. So he went and did according unto the word of the Most High.
So he went and did according to the word of the Most High. That's obedience. Go ahead.
For he went and dwelt by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan.
God, keep going.
Verse 6. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook.
So he ate on a regular basis like any normal person would, in the morning, in the evening, and he drank from the brook. Did y'all get that? You understand? Mm-hmm. That's powerful. And I remember hearing a story, when I was younger, that somebody was saying how I don't know if they lived on an island or something, and they was praying to the Most High. How the family was hungry, they didn't have no food, and they was in the living room or whatever praying. And then like a few seconds after praying, they heard like a thud in the backyard, like something hit the ground. And the brother was saying how he went to the backyard and there was a big old fish back there. A big fish, and he kind of hand gestured like a big fish. So he was like, the waters were some ways away where this fish could have came from. But, what happens? Birds go and grab fish, So at that time, the Most High probably commanded that bird, the waters are 2-3 miles away, however many miles, I'm not sure. But it wasn't like the fish could have just, ended up there, but that's how the Most High works. So the brother was saying that, man, I believe right after praying, the Most High had that bird drop that fish there. And the fish was still flopping around, took that boy in there, boom, we eating. Thank the Most High. That's faith. So that prayer had to have some type of faith attached to it. Mm-hmm. You understand?
Right.
So you praying, but now you don't even worry about after you pray what's going to happen. Just have faith and believe. And it's going to come from a way that you didn't even expect. Let's continue.
And this is the commentary. The commentary reads, Elijah prophesied that there will be a famine in our land due to the wickedness of our people and their rulers.
So that's what the famine was going on, because of the wickedness of our people. But the Most High sustained Elijah. That's not going to affect you. Continue.
It got so bad, people were eating their own babies in small instances.
Mm-hmm. When you read the storyline, what book is it in?
That's in,
I think it's in Kings. In Kings, yeah. When you read the storyline, they were making deals with each other to, we're going to eat your son today.
Right.
And then tomorrow we're going to eat my son.
My son.
And in one instance, the woman told the lady, like, we're going to eat your son today and we'll eat my son tomorrow. And she agreed, and they ate her son. Then the next day, the lady went and hid her son.
Right.
So Israel can't even be on the up and up when they starving.
Right.
Still, but that's what they came to. They came down to eating their own children. But this didn't affect Elijah. Continue.
Right. Elijah was eating very well because of his faith in the Most High.
Mm-hmm. Next set of scriptures, going to Psalms 4:1. Psalms 4:1. Try to get through all of this, so bear with us.
Okay, this is Psalms chapter 1, verse 1 through 5.
Chapter 4, verse 1. Mm-hmm. I'm wearing archive over here. He said chapter, verse.
Right.
Chapter, verse. All right, so Psalms chapter 4, verse 1.
Chapter 4, verse 1. Hear me when I call, O YASHIYA of my righteousness. Thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress. Have mercy upon me and hear my prayer. Verse 2. O ye sons of men, how long will ye turn my glory into shame? How long will ye love vanity and seek after leasing? Selah.
Continue.
Verse 3. But now that the Lord has set apart him that is godly for himself, the Most High will hear when I call unto him.
So just like Elijah, the Most High, it says, the Lord, where you at?
Verse
4. That was 3, right?
Yeah, 3.
The Lord hath set apart him that is godly for himself. The Most High always keep a remnant.
Right.
He always keep a remnant. Like Elijah, he always keep a remnant. You know, what was the scripture where he said, I got 7,000 men that haven't kneeled to Baal. You know, sometimes you think you're the only one. And so somewhere else, you got a remnant. Like all the wickedness, all the bad stuff that's going on, he gonna have a remnant. Through all times since mankind, since he always kept a remnant. It might start out with one, but it's going to turn into a remnant. Continue.
Verse 4. Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still.
So it says stand in awe and sin not. So that goes back to what I was saying earlier. When it all goes down when the calamity's going down, don't you fall into the wickedness. Don't you start being evil. You know, you stay on that righteous path. Say, stand in awe and sin not. Continue.
Verse 5. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Most High.
And put your trust in the Most High. You know, and those are the ones that hear him. Those are the ones that fear him. So he's going to work with that remnant. Let's get the next commentary.
And the commentary reads, leasing means falsehood and lies. We must walk after righteousness so that in that time we will not be deceived by the falsehoods to come. You may encounter a family member who takes the chip and says, look at me, I'm fine, I didn't die. This will be no different than what Eve did with Adam. But understand, the Most High said wrath to those who take it. So wrath will come to pass.
Wrath will come to pass. So the chip would mean destruction. So we gonna come into a time, like I said earlier, where the chip is gonna be, everybody's gonna have it. Everybody gonna have it, you know, and if you're not where you need to be spiritually in life, you're gonna take it. You're gonna take it. I mean, like I said, when I was a kid, my mom would be like, yeah, Mark, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get my head cut off. I'm gonna get my head chopped off. You know, that's what it is. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna get my head chopped off. She was like, nah, you're gonna take it. Like anybody who get to that point, you're gonna take it. You see what I'm saying? So now you might be, yeah, they're just gonna have to kill me. You're gonna take it. If you're not where you're supposed to be spiritually, you're gonna take it. This is not a game. This is not a fairy tale when we come across this. This is gonna be very scary. And those of us who can see, like it's kind of hard for me to watch the news because I just go on a tangent. So I kind of just got to sit there and bite my tongue because it's going to always come back to what? These prophecies, these scriptures, this walk, Jacob's trouble. So it could be the slightest thing and it's going to precepts always coming to mind.
Right.
So I just have to sit there and be like, I ain't going to even say nothing because it's all coming down to who we are. This is all aimed at us. You know, because it's like, you know, that oppression to drive you mad.
Right.
It drive you crazy. And it starts out bitter, sweet, then it gets bitter.
Right.
And like the scriptures say, wisdom increases, sorrows. So the more wise you about this, the more sorrow it brings. You know, you be like, you be ailing on the inside because you got the eyes that can see and you just want to talk to and tell somebody about it, but Like, they can't see it, so it's sorrow. That wisdom brings sorrow, you know. Continue.
Okay, this is Matthew. We're going to Matthew 15 and 32 through 38.
So yeah, keep in mind, the chip is going to mean destruction. It might not be right away. That person might look like they benefiting, like the commentary said. The person's going to say they fine. Yeah, they fine until they flip that switch and that DNA and all that change. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be like Satan going to be a force to be reckoned with. But those who are girded up, we're going to endure and we're going to conquer it and we're going to get this kingdom.
Right.
Go ahead.
This is Matthew 15 and 32. Then YASHIYA called his disciples unto him and said, I have compassion on the multitude, because they continue with me now 3 days and have nothing to eat, and I will not send them away fasting, lest they faint in the way. So
this is when the multitude was with Christ and following him. You know, the story of him feeding the people with the loaves of bread and the fish. That's what we're going into. Go through it. Let's go.
And his disciples say unto him, When shall we have so much bread in the wilderness as to fill so great a multitude?
Then being diligent in following after the footsteps of the bread of life, not chasing food when it goes down to take care of your hunger pains. Mm-hmm. The bread of life is more powerful than the bread itself. Let's go get the next set of scriptures, Matthew 16 and 1. That's what we got, right?
Yes, sir. Matthew 16 and 1 through 4. The Pharisees also the Sadducees came and tempted and desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven. He answered and said unto them, When it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky, but can ye not discern the signs of the times?
Right. So he telling them like, okay, you going out looking up like, yeah, it's gonna be decent today, you know, and then in the morning or the evening saying the same thing. Oh, it's gonna be, you know, like kind of getting a gauge on the weather. Like, oh, okay, you can decipher that, but you can't decipher the signs of the time. Continue.
Verse 4.
So basically, Salaki, he was basically saying like, man, you can't see the times we in, but you can go out and determine the weather. Continue.
Verse 4. A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall be no sign but be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And he left them and departed. So it said, a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign.
What that mean? Only the wicked worry about when is the end coming, when it's gonna happen. No faith. Because if you walk in righteous 24/7, it don't matter when it happened. If you walk in righteous 24/7, when he come like a thief in the night, you was ready.
Right.
You're not looking for a sign. Only the wicked who looking to slip away or fall off is looking for a sign. Like I say, when I was younger, I was like, well, when I'm this age, you know, it's going to be a little more ramped up. I was thinking ahead wickedly and carnally. Like, okay, well, that gives me time to do this, because by this time it should be really ramped up. So if you live in righteous 24/7, you don't have to get ready. You are ready.
Right.
Continue.
Okay, we're going to get the commentary. Then after the commentary, we go into 2nd Esdras 1:33 through 40. And the commentary reads, with all the signs happening today, our people are still looking for a sign to get right. Even when we know we intend on doing something according to our carnality, we act like because of a lightning bolt or something didn't hit us, everything is fine.
Yeah, so because instant judgment isn't there, we think everything is fine. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, I didn't get struck down. This didn't happen. You know, like I say, I used to be like, man, when nuclear war is amiss, you know, they was threatening all this stuff with Russia and Afghanistan back in the day, and you figuring, okay, when I'm thinking when nuclear war is right there, then I know that's the sign. I know. And then you'll see things on the media now, on the news outlets, nuclear threats, so on and so forth. And you're like, wow. And you looking at it, and then they cut right to sports. Mm-hmm. It's like it's not even important to them. Like, you know, if you went off of that, those are all false signs. So that's why the prophecies matter. They do all this hoopla about what this nation is threatening with nuclear war, and then they come back and then they go to sports for 30 minutes. Continue.
Judgment is still coming, whether you die tomorrow or you make it to the bitter end.
Right, so judgment is still coming. So let's say, and we got to keep this mindset. Like, let's say America isn't destroyed for however many more years. But what if the Most High require your soul tonight? What if he require your soul today? If he require your soul now, it doesn't matter when judgment is going to come upon Babylon. Mm-hmm. You got something to answer for tonight.
Exactly.
Let's continue.
Okay, this is 2nd Esdras, chapter 1, verse 33 through 40. Thus said the Almighty Power, your house is desolate. I will cast you out as the wind doeth stubble.
So the Most High will cast us out as the wind does stubble, as a breeze coming through. Continue.
And your children shall not be fruitful, for they have despised my commandment and done the thing that is an evil before me.
So if we don't pass these laws down our children, it's just going to be perpetual generational curses. Continue.
Your houses will I give to a people that shall come, which not having heard of me, yet shall believe me, to whom I have showed no signs, yet they shall do that I have commanded them.
Think about that. He gonna give your things over, your houses and your belongings and your merchandise over to somebody who haven't even heard of him. Here it is, we know the truth, walking in the truth, and then taking off here and there, falling off here and there, because we seek a sign. We seek a sign. We see people come in this walk, and then powerful people, and then fall off, and then go like, I figured I could make some more money in Babylon, because by the time it's time to flee, I'm like, man, is that a verse in the rhyme? Because you just rolling like you already knew what you was gonna say.
Exactly.
And then here it is, because you're looking for a sign. He'll bring a people. It could be somebody from the northern tribe, whomever he chooses, that never even heard of him. It could be somebody from the northern tribe that was a Catholic all their life. Say, you from the stock of Israel? I never heard this God of higher y'all come calling on. And he'll put them in the things that you thought you were blessed with. Because as soon as they come in, click, it hit them. Ahaya, that makes sense to me. I knew it was something. And he'll bless them. They never heard of him before. Man, you've been in the truth in this walk 4-5 years, however many years. Know that's the name and still go back to your own vomit. And then somebody will come along who never even heard of Ahaya. Could be of the stock of Israel, so on and so forth. And they'll reap the benefits of what you had laid out for them. Had laid out for yourself, but become somebody else's gain. Continue.
They have seen no prophets, yet shall call their sins to remembrance and acknowledge them.
So these people won't even be none known of the prophets, might not even know the scriptures that well, but they will call their sins to remembrance. So that means they will repent. They'll repent. Like, I never heard of this God of higher, but since it's been explained to me, this is the God of all gods. I repent from what I'm doing. I acknowledge my sins, I repent. Continue.
Verse 37. I take to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness.
So you pass it down to your children. Continue.
And though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, yet in spirit they believe the things I say.
Continue.
And now, brother, behold what glory and see the people that come from the east.
Continue.
Unto whom I will give for leaders Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob,
Hoseas, that's Hosea. Continue.
Amos, and Michaels,
Micaias, that's Micah. Continue.
Joel, Abadias, and Jonas,
Abadias, that's Obadiah. Go ahead.
Nahum, and
Habakkuk, that's Habakkuk. Yeah. Sophonias, that's Zephanias. Agaius, I believe that's Haggai.
Zechariah, and Malachi, which is called also of the angel of the Lord.
So those are all prophets. Those are all prophets right there. So that's a powerful thing. So we either going to inherit we either going to inherit the kingdom with our children, or our children, or their children. It's coming within shortly. It's coming soon. Let's go to the next commentary.
Okay, we get the next commentary, and the next set of scriptures will be Hebrews 11, 1 through 6.
So what they were saying, we the only ones that need 100% proof.
Right.
We the only ones who need 100% proof. You got to convince us 100%. And we still don't believe. We got to be convinced 100%. Tell me everything you know, prove to me this and that, and then we still don't believe. That just shows how stiff-necked we are. But let's get the next commentary.
And the commentary reads, if we don't take these last days seriously, our children will inherit the kingdom, and we will inherit out of darkness.
Go ahead.
Like former generations, we have the prophets of the Bible to warn us, and those that the Most High set up to help us understand the path to the Father. What more do we need?
What more do we need? We're going to Hebrews 11 and 1. Hebrews 11 and 1. We almost done.
This is Hebrews 11 and 1.
So let me make a comment on that. So it says, what more do we need? Like we have the prophets of the scriptures to warn us. And those that the Most High set us up to help us understand, which is our elders, bishops, and deacons. They brought understanding of this truth through the Spirit of the Most High to us. You see, so either, like the first sentence said, if we don't take these last days seriously, our children will inherit the kingdom, and we will inherit outer darkness. You understand? My oldest son, him and his wife, they blessed us with a grandchild, my grandson. He's like, 6 months old now. And I remember when I first seen him for the first time, he was like a month old. And I was holding him, and he was just staring at me. And I'm staring at him, and I'm staring at him like, yeah, he's definitely my grandson. He looks just like my son, and he looked like my other son. And he's staring at me, and I would like to think he looked, and I'm thinking like, man, what can I pass down to him? Well, because I got this truth in my mind. Like, he's not vaccinated, none of those things. My oldest son had some type of understanding to know, like, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do this because this was my dad, so on and so forth. So, I'm looking at him, because it's my first grandchild, and it's a boy, and I'm looking at him like, and he's just staring at me like he's looking inside of me like, you my grandpa. And I'm thinking like, what can I pass down to him? What can I do differently than, my parents done with me and I did with my son, so on and so forth. Even when I'm writing my notes and when I'm in my precept book, when I'm in my scriptures, I always write in a way, and I always take notes in a way that maybe my grandson gonna get a hold of this one day, and he'll be able to see clearly what was translated to me and get an understanding. Because I would like to still be living, but I would like either my son or my grandson to be pushing me into the wilderness or into, you see what I'm saying? It had to be bestowed to, passed down to them. And I remember he was just staring at me, and I'm looking like, man, why are you looking at me? And I'm looking at him, and he's looking inside of me like, and I'm thinking like, these curses are gonna be upon him, but it starts with me. It starts with somebody breaking the curse in the bloodline. So I just thought, when reading this saying, our children will inherit the kingdom and we will inherit outer darkness. Now, if I fall off, God forbid, I still want a chance for my children or my grandchild. or my grandchildren if it get to that point, but maybe they come across my notes or something or the understanding, because that's the remnant he gonna deal with. We dealt with idolatry and eating bad foods and so on and so forth. So now we're passing that to our children and our grandchildren. That says a lot. The Most High gonna work with them a little bit more than us. So what good would it do for me to get this understanding and then see my grandson in idolatry with pagan holidays, eating whatever, this and that? And my son, he's not a part of the church per se, but he's a part of like, oh yeah, we ain't doing this, we ain't doing that, because my dad don't do that. And I remember when my dad did that, and I know how my dad was, and he's not like that no more. So we gonna do this. He's not in the walk 100%, but he has enough to know like, this is what my son gonna do. So, like it starts somewhere. So the Most High can work with him even more because he didn't partake in idolatry as much as I did. Even though I'm renewed and cleansed and baptized in the name of Christ YASHIYA, but he might give him a little more fortitude and say, okay, I'm gonna work with you, Most High willing, and I'm gonna work with him too. Because he ain't been tainted by Babylon. So that's why it's important for us to have this understanding and pass to our family members, whether they hear or forbear, and pass to our children. Let's go real quick.
Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
So that's just what Brother Kasai was bringing out in the song when he started. You understand? If you heard the hook, that's what it was saying. Let's go.
For by it the elders obtained a good report.
That was in there also, good report. So the elders, our forefathers was rewarded for what? Their faith. They was rewarded for that. That's not, the Most High not going to gloss over that. Continue.
Through faith, we understand that the worlds was framed by the word of the Most High, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
Continue.
Verse 4. By faith Abel offered unto the Most High a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous. The Most High testifying of his gifts, and by it being dead yet speaketh.
Continue.
Verse 5. By faith Enoch was translated, that he should not see death, and was not found, because of the Most High had translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony, that he pleased God.
Continue.
But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to the Most High must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
So for he that cometh to the Most High must believe that he is. So first and foremost, you got to believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's first and foremost.
That's right.
Let's get the next set of scriptures. We're almost done.
We go into 2 Kings 6:12 through 18.
2 Kings 6:12. We almost done.
And it reads, 2 Kings 6:12.
It's going back to Elijah. Let's go.
And one of his servants said, none of my lord, O king, but Elijah, the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. Verse 13. And he said, go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan. Verse 14. Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots, and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the city about.
All right, so they came into the city. They came around where Elisha was. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And when the servants of the man of the Most High was risen early and gone forth, behold, and hosts compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we do? How shall we do?
Like, man, we surrounded. What should we do? Like, should we take up arms? Should we just, fight back? Should we go in? Go ahead.
Verse 16. And he answered, fear not, for they be with us are more than they that be with them.
That's key right there. And he answered, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. So they compassed, they surrounded. Continue.
Verse 17, and Elijah prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see.
Open his eyes. So Elijah praying, saying, man, get his brother spiritual eyes so he can see what I see. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elijah.
He got backup. He had backup the whole time. He couldn't see it. Elisha seen it. So Elisha prayed and said, YASHIYA, let him see what I see. So that's what I'm saying. When we out there in the calamities, you don't see the archangels fighting on your behalf. Mm-hmm. You don't see that, but it takes faith. But if you cower and become carnal and lose that spiritual fortitude, all you'll see is the battle in front of you, and you don't see the warriors that's there to fight for you. That's what the Judah boys and not the Jacob boys and so on and so forth, they had that righteous fortitude. Mm-hmm. Continue.
Verse 18, and when they came down to him, Elijah prayed unto the Most High and said, smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elijah.
So when you know you got backup, you got faith. You understand? It's confidence in a sense, but it's faith. And when you walking upright and righteously, you know the Most High got you. Think of it. Whenever you've been in a situation and you kind of doubted yourself, and then somebody came to you, you got a little bit encouraged. You got that gave you faith in a sense, like, oh yeah, we're gonna be straight. Now you got your chest poked out again, like, all right, okay, yeah, I'm straight. I was kind of doubting myself. I was kind of doubting the spirit, what was going on. You had that doubt. So let's
okay.
So we're rounded out right here.
Okay, this is the last commentary. Have faith and you will have a spiritual substance which will not waste away. With this decaying world, flee wickedness and choose whom you will serve.
This decaying world, so this world decaying whether you like it or not.
Right.
So if you choose to partake in it, it's going to be for nothing anyway, so you might as well choose righteousness. Go ahead.
Faith will sustain you and works will preserve you through the times ahead.
So that's what this whole lesson is about, faith sustaining you. That's what this whole lesson is about. When the adversary is coming against us, faith is going to sustain you. Continue.
Stand firm and choose eternal life. Shalom.
Shalom. We pray that the Most High add a blessing to the hearers and the doers of the word. With that being said, we got any questions or comments about the lesson? Brother right there. Shalom. Shalom.
When you first start speaking about having faith in that crunch time and being a martyr for Christ and things like that, like when we need to show them like YASHIYA is our guy, even when they got that gun up to our head. When I first got into the truth, something that kind of shook me to actually start to follow the truth and be righteous was the story in 2 Maccabees with the 7 sons, and I'm pretty sure you all know it. But when you think about it, it was real gruesome, even though it's like all they had to do was just, taste of the swine's flesh. Mm-hmm. But knowing who their God is, he's not going to accept that. And I just wanted to read a little bit out of that. I'm going to go to 27 and then skip down to 29. It says, but she bowing herself toward him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn, spake in her country language on this manner. O my son, have pity upon me that bear thee 9 months in the womb, and gave thee suck 3 years and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto this age and endured the troubles of education. And you go down to 29. It say, fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren. And just going off of that, it's like when I got deeper into this truth, it's like, yeah, they, you know, nowadays they might not do that. They might just, you know, end it quick, shoot you, get it over with. But now that's something that I always look back on the gird of my loins, like, man, what if they don't? What if they do something like that to you? It's like, can you still hold that faith?
Right.
Am I still gonna be righteous?
Right.
And it's like, I look at the Most High and I give him all praises because yes, in that moment, I would be willing to face that. I would be willing to do that. And it's still kind of easy to say that, but that's something that make your heart drop when you think about that. Like, man, if I'm really righteous and following these commandments and something is gonna happen to me like that, can I do it?
Yeah.
And that's just something to help me, you know, keep my mind focused on following this truth.
All praise, all praises. And the scriptures tell us we gonna have to be martyred like Christ and the disciples. It's just what it's gonna be. You're gonna have to be martyred for this. And like I said, if you are cringing from being pinched, then you know what I'm saying, in a sense, the little trials, you know, what are you gonna do when the adversary come against you? So out the water for bringing that out, Officer Zion.
Yeah, based on what he was saying, you know, I think about that also. For a very long time, I've been trying to train my mind mentally. If that was to happen, you know, just take the death.
Mm-hmm.
And you really have to train your mind. Like, if you don't train your mind, you're just gonna go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying, you have to be right spiritually because there's a reward for that.
Mm-hmm.
And but getting, you know, shot in the head or even beheaded would be sweet. Like I'm like, man, what's up? Please let me shoot me in the back of the head or something. You know, call it a day.
Right, but what about torture?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, because in Wisdom of Solomon, that's what they'll do. Let's try them. That's what, according to Wisdom of Solomon, they're gonna torture us.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that faith, you know. And when you read the martyrdom of the apostles, they were so spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them didn't even drop a tear.
They was cherishing it.
They were happy. They was happy, especially Paul. They said, yeah, I'm getting it, you know, rejoice with me.
Like the brother brung out last week, like, man, did they go upside your head? They went up. Yeah. They was happy about it. They was rejoicing over it. Yeah.
That was it.
That's powerful. So it's like that says a lot. You get an artist's hand for that. That says a lot, you know, because that's what we're gonna be facing. That's what we're gonna be, you know, when they got hold of you, your children, your loved ones, you know, and like the brother brung out, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, you know, take pride in this, endure this, you know, for what's to come. So nothing's greater than that kingdom. Nothing's greater. See, they've gotten us with the fear of, most people are afraid how they gonna die, so on and so forth. That's what Satan plays at. You understand? That's that playground he plays at. But sister right here got a comment or question.
I just have 2 comments. Shalom.
Shalom.
Before I moved here from a different state, I found out that that state actually already has the mark of the beast.
The chip.
And that's another reason why after I watched GOCC, like, I moved here because I didn't want to be a part of that. And after the class, I can tell you, like, what companies that are having that in that state.
Yeah.
And it's gonna come, like, probably this way eventually, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and hey, let them bring it. Mm-hmm. That's how I look at it. I look at that as a way is they just bringing forth the prophecy sooner. Mm-hmm. You know, so, you know, not that, you know, like, I'm just looking at these things ought to come. So let them bring it. I don't need to know the names. Because eventually all of them gonna do it. Mm-hmm. You understand? It's just a matter of whether we're gonna partake or not. Mm-hmm. So they're gonna do. Hey, Satan gonna do his job. It's up to us. And that's the thing. So I mean, we can detour, we can run from it to a certain extent, but we're gonna get to a point where it's not gonna be no outrunning prophecy. Can't. So we're gonna be off to ourselves, and the people who don't take heed are gonna be left in society to deal with it. That's gonna be their problem. You understand? Anything else?
I'll talk to you later.
Okay, all right. Get a sister hand for that. Shalom, bro.
Shalom, shalom, everybody. I'm just in the Wisdom of Solomon, 17th chapter, and the 12th verse. It says, "For fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors or security which reason offers." It says, "And the expectation from within being less, counteth the ignorance more than the cause which bringeth the torment." So it's like we get or build faith through operating according to the scriptures or reading the scriptures. That increases your faith to know that, because that reason is the word. So we can only be duped or only allow fear to have control or power over us if we don't know something or if we not following the scriptures.
Exactly.
So we just got to stay in these scriptures, family. Just stay in the scriptures, man.
Exactly.
And, we just got to help one another, edify one another, and continue to build one another up in times of that weakness or that ignorance, so to speak. That's all I got.
And that's what I was saying. The water for that. And that's what I was saying earlier when I was like, that the scripture's gonna be your ammunition. When I was saying, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, so on and so forth. That's gonna be your ammunition. That's gonna be the thing where it's like, this is what I solidified, and now I'm using it as an arsenal against unright wickedness. So yeah, all praises for that.
I just want to say, great teaching.
The water. That's my wife, so yeah, that's my wife. All praises. Got Tyler up front. She got a great teaching out early, so she ain't got to tell me later. Like, I got it out the way. Nah. All praise to the Father. Shalom.
I just want to read something quick from Hebrews chapter 3 that I thought was pertaining good to the lesson. So it's Hebrews chapter 3, verse 5. And it says, "And Moses verily was faithful in all his house, and his servant for a testimony of those things which were to be spoken after. But Christ as a son over his own house, whose house are we, if we hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing of the hope firm unto the end. Wherefore, as the Holy Spirit said, today if we hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in the provocation, in the day of temptation in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my works 40 years. Wherefore I was grieved with that generation, and said, they do always err in their heart, and they have not known my ways. So I swear in my wrath, they shall not enter into my rest. But take heed, brethren, lest there be any of you an evil heart of unbelief, and departing from the living power. But exhort one another daily, while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. For we are made partakers of Christ, if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast unto the end. While it is said today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts, as in a provocation. For some, when they had heard, did provoke, and howbeit not all that came out of Egypt by Moses. But with whom was he grieved 40 years? Was it not with them that had sinned, whose carcass fell in the wilderness? And they whom swore that they should not enter into his rest, but to them that believed not? So we see that they could not enter in because of unbelief. So, we have unbelief in our hearts. That's the way our forefathers did. And let the conjuring of their own sins or their own desires get to them. We ain't gonna make it into his rest.
Exactly. Water. Hebrews 3. That was Hebrews 3. You can go through the whole chapter. So that's important because everybody not gonna have the same attributes. Some of us gonna have more powerful attributes. Everybody got something to bring. Some people's faith is gonna be stronger. And then if your faith is stronger than mine, then you're gonna give me some of your faith. That's why we're gonna have to be joined at the hip, because this brother gonna have something to bring and give to the body that I can't bring or you can't bring. So he might not be strong on faith, but he's going to get faith from somebody who's strong. So we all gotta going to be held accountable for our own actions and judged on the day of judgment. But you know, you need those works. You need those works as well. We got one more sister in the back.
Shalom, family.
Shalom.
All praise to the Most High. I wasn't going to say anything, but it's on my heart. Like, say it.
Oh,
say
yeah.
it.
Bring it out, then.
I'm like, okay. I just want to share a story that happened. We live in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pregnant with my second son, YASHIYA, like summertime. I was like maybe 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
And me and the family was at a neighbor's house, and my husband, you know, it was nighttime. He always just walked me, even though we stayed like 2 doors down, he always just walked me home. So I was like, no, I'm fine. I'll just walk by myself. So I have AJ, my oldest son, and you know, we walking, and I was just, and like, we went outside, and it's usually a whole bunch of stray cats around.
Mm-hmm.
So AJ was like, where are the cats? I'm like, I don't know, like they should be outside. And then like the street lights was out too, the little lights that we had.
Right.
And it's like nothing but woods all on this side. And like my back door is like right off the woods.
Mm-hmm.
So we just walk in, and then AJ's on this side. And then I didn't even see it. I'm just looking, you know, towards my door. And he was like, hi, dog. And I looked, I was like, You know, like, it was like, that ain't no dog.
Yeah.
So whatever it was, the creature, the beast, I can't explain it. I never seen it before. I just know the fur looked like a hyena fur, but it was way bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like coming up on us. And I was like, oh, I'm so pregnant. What am I gonna do with this thing try to attack me and my baby? So I said, AJ, come on this side. And I just called him the Most High. I was like, please help me.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is study, you can tell he's hungry.
Right.
I'm like, oh shoot. So when I say he didn't look at us like we was invisible, the Most High made us invisible. And he walked right past us.
Wow.
And he was going because a cat just had some kittens.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he smelled it from the woods, and he was going over sniffing at the other house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm steadily walking, I'm looking at the thing like, oh. And the Most High said to me, don't fear it, like a father, real powerful. I was like, okay.
Right.
And I just went in the house like, oh, thank you, Father. But that right there, I was like, okay. That like even built my faith.
That built your
more.
faith up, yeah.
I'm like, even though I thought I was by myself, he was right there the whole time.
Exactly.
So I just wanted to share that with y'all. Like,
exactly.
When you do what he say, I'm telling you, he has your back through everything.
That's good. That right there, and it's like, you know, for your son to realize, like, hey, where are the cats?
Yeah.
The cats were the distraction. You know, that's the example I was giving earlier, that like the enemy will be distracted with something else the whole time you can walk right past. And the sister was obedient. So that just confirms what I was saying earlier about when the Most High would tell you, hey, go down 2 blocks, make a left. And you like, we gotta walk right, go down 2 blocks, make a left. So that's where that obedience comes in. But if you let fear overtake you, it's a wrap. So all praises for that testimony, sister. Anybody else? I've got Brother Officer Don in the front.
Shabbat Shalom, family.
Shabbat Shalom.
Just going on when we say we go through the precepts, and that's what helps us endure. But we know that YASHIYA in those 40 days went through their precepts, right?
Right.
But he endured with the precepts because Satan had the precepts too coming at him too.
Right.
But he endured through it. Like, yo, precept to precept, you want to go like that?
Right.
Against me? But he still did it and endured. So that's us to think about that too.
Right.
And then being of, like you're saying, like the way our whole understanding us right now, we understand the world like this is not nothing for us. No kingdom, no nothing. But we know, like when we go out to other people, we need to teach and get them that. That's what we're saying. They're holding on to everything. We're walking away from it, but they're still holding on to it, and they're not gonna understand. Like we're so blinded. Like I was there. We were all there. Like I was there. So like you're not even looking at no kingdom because there ain't nothing no kingdom taught. It's taught you're gonna go to heaven. All these other lies, all this other stuff that comes out, and it never comes out that there's a kingdom. And there's never coming out there's no splendor, and there's nothing there that could be. They'll do all these other movies and all these fantasy movies and all these other stuff like that to make you think, the Harry Potters and all stuff like that to get that.
Those the blasphemies of Revelations 13 from the great dragon.
So there's another part that we need to, what do we do with that? We gotta, take it slow to them and let them know, like, there is a kingdom, like, but you just never been taught this, man. You never seen this, you never understood this, you never felt this, because the relationship with the Father and getting the fear of Him first, then it'll come. Like, there's got to be more, right? Mm-hmm. And that's when we get these brothers and sisters that come in the door. There's got to be more, right? There's got to be something else. So we got to remember that they're thirsty for that because the Father's sending them. We just got to be ready to give it to them, brothers and sisters. Just got to be ready.
All praises. Got to be that light. All praises. All right, so that's it, right? So that wraps it up. We're going to pray out.
Really breaks my heart. Cause we've been lied to, misled for years. Calling out to the most high on this trail of tears. Higher, higher,